Well, I was 6 years old. I remember when the Germans occupied Prague in March 1939. We had to tear a picture of President Beneš out of our school books and stick in a picture of Hitler, and there were German soldiers everywhere. My father left the country immediately. He said to his cousins, if the Nazis come, I'm getting out. And the cousins said, we'll take a chance, and in 1942 they were taken to Auschwitz. My mother was refused permission to leave, and she put me on a Kindertransport. I can still see in my mind's eye the station, my mother looking anxious, seeing me off, German soldiers with swastikas in the background, and off the train went. It certainly saved my life. If Nicky Winton hadn't organised the Kindertransport, and if the British government hadn't given permission for 10,000 Kindertransport children from Germany, Austria and Czechoslovakia to come to Britain, I don't think I could possibly have survived the Holocaust. I was passionately interested in politics when I got to the UK, and I suppose one of the things that occurred to me was that if evil men do what the Nazis did, maybe politics can also be used to be more positive and helpful. Anybody could be a refugee, but for the grace of God it might happen to us. When I see refugees in a desperate situation in some of these countries, it brings memories of the plight of refugees, millions of people on the move, and somehow I think Europe can do better than that. I had a couple of visits to Calais, and I met children and other refugees there, and I also went to the camps in Greece. I sat there with a handful of Afghan boys. They'd travelled halfway across the world in desperate circumstances. I was talking to one Syrian boy whose parents were blown up in front of him in Aleppo. Terrible experiences. There were 95,000 unaccompanied child refugees in Europe. 10,000 of them, according to Interpol, had disappeared. Shocking. If one child disappears, there's a hunt for that child, and yet 10,000 and nobody seemed to care very much. So I moved the amendment saying unaccompanied children should come to Europe, and then Theresa May, who was then Home Secretary, asked me to see her and tried to persuade me to withdraw the amendment. And I said, why? And she said, if we take those children, others will follow. And I said, but if we don't take them, we're leaving them in desperate circumstances. I'm too committed. I can't withdraw the amendment. It went to the Commons, it was slightly defeated, came back to the Lords, bigger majority, and on its way back to the Commons, public opinion began to kick in. And eventually Theresa May summoned me in again and said, look, we propose to accept your amendment. And they've done no such thing. They've backed off entirely. Immigration and the numbers of people coming in have become a political punch bag. I think that's very shabby. This calls for a humanitarian response. Part of the legal action is on the issue of whether the government consulted properly. I'm hoping that the government will lose that. But even if they don't, the political argument will continue. We're still going to push them politically because we've got to win this argument one way or the other. When that little boy was seen drowning on a beach in the Mediterranean, I think many people were shocked. People were shocked when they saw dinghies sinking in the Mediterranean. When we heard of the people drowning in the sea, people were shocked. And I think there was a realization we should do more. And I would salute the young people, like those working with Help Refugees, the young people who are doing such a fantastic job supporting these children. All European countries should share the responsibility of looking after vulnerable people. We should remember what happened at the end of World War II when people fled, and now people are fleeing for safety from countries where their lives are in danger, and I think they're entitled to a better future than they're having at the moment. I would say to Theresa May, you know about child refugees. You know Nicholas Winton, who organised the Kindertransport from Prague, which saved my life. Before he died, he was a constituent of yours. You used to meet him. Please remember what he did. Please remember that as a country we're humanitarian. Surely we can do better for child refugees than we're now doing. Please think again.